Hey friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. The question everyone is asking is just one. When will Chapter 5 be released? In this video, we're going to analyze all the current clues, the official information, the hidden signals, and of course the most interesting theories circulating in the community. Because yes, right now there are two major schools of thought, completely opposite to each other. On one side, there are those who believe that the game isn't actually that far away, and that Mob Entertainment might be preparing something that could arrive much sooner than we imagine. According to this theory, some recent moves, certain details, and specific strategic choices could indicate that development is already at a very advanced stage. On the other side, there are those who think that it will still take a long time, maybe many more months of waiting, because Chapter 5 could be the most ambitious chapter ever, bigger, more complex, and with a much deeper story than the previous ones. During this video, we'll look at all the clues supporting both theories, compare them one by one, and try to understand which one is closer to the truth. As always, we'll rely only on logical reasoning, concrete facts, and what we truly know at this moment. Before we start though, I ask you for a bit of support as always. Leave a like on the video if you enjoy content about Poppy Playtime and its theories, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because here you'll always find updates, news, and in-depth analysis about the game. That being said, get ready, because it's time to enter the world of Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 and try to figure out together when we'll finally get our hands on it. So let's start with the first theory. According to this first theory, Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 could arrive much sooner than many people expect. Some even believe that the game could be released as early as January or February. Now, let's clarify something important right away. This theory is not about rushing the developers, nor about creating unrealistic expectations. Instead, it was born from a series of very specific and recent moves made by Mob Entertainment that immediately caught the attention of the community. In fact, if we think about it, Mob Entertainment already released the first cinematic trailer at the beginning of December. And this is far from a random detail. Anyone who has followed the series for a long time knows that cinematic trailers are never released too far from the game's launch. Historically, Mob Entertainment has always used trailers as a clear sign that the release is getting closer. And here comes another very interesting point. If we compare the marketing pattern of the previous chapters, we can see that the first trailer for Chapter 5 arrived even earlier than the ones for Chapters 3 and 4. This detail raised a lot of questions and a lot of speculation. Why release a trailer so early if the game were still very far from launch? And that's exactly why many people believe that Chapter 5 could arrive earlier than expected. According to this theory, Mob Entertainment might already have a project that is far more advanced than we imagine, and the cinematic trailer could be just the first real step toward a more aggressive marketing campaign. Of course, it's also true that Mob Entertainment has openly stated that they want to spend much more time on development, especially to avoid releasing a buggy and unstable game like what happened with Chapter 4. But according to supporters of this theory, these statements don't necessarily rule out an early release. Instead, they could mean that the development of Chapter 5 started much earlier than the previous chapters. And this is where another crucial element comes into play. If you remember, Zach, the CEO of Mob Entertainment, once stated that the development of Chapter 5 started about 5 years ago. That is huge information, and if taken seriously, it completely changes the perspective. If the project has really been in development for that long, then it's possible that a large portion of the work has already been completed, and what we are seeing now is simply the final phase of polishing, testing, and marketing. And this is exactly what, according to many fans, further strengthens the theory of an early release, possibly much closer than we think. Of course, this is only the first theory, and it's definitely the most optimistic one. But it's not the only one. Very soon, we'll also look at the other side of the coin, with a completely opposite theory that could change everything. Now let's move on to the second theory, which is also the most accepted one by the community. According to this perspective, Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 is not close to release at all, and the launch would still be quite far away. The main reason is always the same, and it's something Mob Entertainment has emphasized multiple times. This time, they want to take all the time they need. After what happened with Chapter 4, which launched with several technical issues, bugs, and problems at release, the developers seem determined not to repeat the same mistake. According to this theory, Mob Entertainment would rather delay the game than release an unpolished product that could ruin the player experience. But it's not just about development. There is another very important element that, according to many fans, confirms that Chapter 5 is not coming anytime soon. The ARG has not started yet. Anyone who has followed Poppy Playtime for a long time knows that before the release of every new chapter, Mob Entertainment always prepares a structured ARG made of hidden clues and interactive PC. The ARG never lasts just a few weeks, but develop over several months, building hype and deeply involving the community. A very clear example is Chapter 4. In that case, the ARG started in July and continued until November. A fairly long time span that followed a precise pattern which many fans now consider a sort of Mob Entertainment trademark. And this is exactly why, according to the second theory, the complete absence of an active ARG is a very strong signal. If Chapter 5 were really close to release, we should already be in the middle of a clue hunt, but right now that is not happening. Of course, there is also an alternative possibility. The ARG could start very soon and last less than usual, maybe only a few months. But according to supporters of this theory, that would be a very unusual choice for Mob Entertainment, which has always relied on long and carefully built ARG. For this reason, the conclusion of the second theory is quite clear. Unless there are sudden changes in the marketing strategy, we still have a long wait ahead before we can finally play Poppy Playtime Chapter 5. This theory is definitely less exciting than the first one, but it is also the one many consider more realistic, because it is based on past releases and on how the studio usually works. And now, with both theories on the table, we can finally start asking ourselves which one is actually closer to the truth. So now, let's try to understand which theory could be the most realistic. The truth is that both theories have solid foundations, and we are not talking about random guesses or baseless ideas. The clues these theories are based on are real and visible clues that anyone can find by doing some research and by analyzing the patterns Mob Entertainment has followed over time. For this reason, I personally think that the truth lies somewhere in the middle, meaning that Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 will not be released too early, but not too late either. Yes, it is true that Mob Entertainment has already released the first cinematic trailer, and that is definitely an important sign. However, if we look back at the past, this would not be the first time a trailer was released several months before the actual game launch. A perfect example is Poppy Playtime Chapter 2. In that case, the trailer was released in February 2022, while the game itself came out in May 2022. So we are not talking about an extremely long wait, but not an immediate release either. A very specific time gap which could be similar to what we are seeing now. As a result, the most reasonable release window seems to be a middle ground. And that is why, by putting all these elements together, the most realistic release period for Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 could be the first half of 2026. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. You are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.